Hello and welcome to Thoughts Can Heal podcast. I am your host, Denise Lynn, and if you're new here, I just want to welcome you. If you're not new here, I just want to thank you, as always, for taking a few minutes out of your precious day to spend with me. So today's podcast is titled, How to Help Quiet Your Mind. And I'm really excited about this podcast. I believe that so many of us, especially living in these times where, many of us are very highly stressed, we're overtaxed, overworking ourselves. There's a lot of fear and anxiety that is just permeating through, our social media and news. And there's just so much that we are consuming. And on top of that, there's so many of us that have a lot on our plates. And what ends up happening when we're overtaxed like that, we tend to stay in our heads a lot. And we have a lot of thoughts. And psychologists, I say this a lot in these podcasts, psychologists and psychiatrists tell us that we have nearly 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day. So the crazy thing about that is most of those thoughts, and that's a lot, if you think about that, that's a lot of thinking. Most of those thoughts are either repetitive thoughts that you've been thinking day after day after day, sometimes for weeks, sometimes, unfortunately, for years. And then the vast majority of those thoughts are usually negative. So it's really important that we understand a few things about our minds. And the first thing I want to say is, and tell you that might bring some relief to you if you really understand it, is that we are not our minds. We're not. We are the observer of what's going on in our minds. So once we begin to understand that, it makes it a lot easier for us to, if we're having negative thoughts or we're just overthinking things, having too many thoughts, and I like to call it the monkey mind, like the monkey chattering mind. When we're experiencing that, if we can just become aware of that fact that we are not our minds, we are just the awareness of what's going on, then that helps us to quiet down a little bit, because instead of entertaining the thoughts and getting caught up and allowing those thoughts to affect us negatively and manifest, from the mind into the body, and then start to cause, symptoms of anxiety and depression and other ailments, we can kind of take a step back and just kind of be like, you know what? All right, mind, you go as crazy as you want. Clearly you need to calm down, but instead of entertaining all these thoughts that aren't serving me, I'm going to take a step back, take a seat back, and just observe you. And for example, one technique that I use when I go into a loop like that, where my thoughts just get the best of me and I'm overthinking and the thoughts are just coming and coming and coming, and it's just almost too much. You just want to scream sometimes, like, you just want to get out of your head. One thing that I do, and one thing that I highly recommend, is meditating. And if you don't have a meditation practice, I really highly recommend you starting one. Some people are very apprehensive about the word meditation. A lot of people think it's some woo-woo, strange hippie thing, but it's really not. It's so simple too, and I think people, unfortunately, think there's so much more to it than what there is. And one thing I can suggest and just recommend is just meditation is just sitting quietly, just sitting, finding some place where you're not going to be distracted. You can also lie down, but just be in a space where, you can just turn everything off and just sit. And if you have a hard time quieting the mind, which most of us do, and by the way, the mind is never going to be 100% quiet. It's actually impossible. But we can get it to slow down a little bit, like the top layer, just to calm down enough so that we can feel some peace. So what I suggest is finding a quiet spot and closing your eyes. And one thing that I do is I focus on my breath. So I bring my awareness to the inhale of breath in through my nose and the exhale out of my mouth. And another technique I'd like to share with you, if you'd like to calm down, if you're feeling stressed and you can find a quiet spot just to close your eyes, is to inhale in through your nose, say to a count of 4 to 6, whatever is comfortable for you. And then as you exhale, position your lips like you're blowing out of a straw and exhale longer than the inhale, nice and slowly. And that'll send a signal to your brain. It sends a calming signal, which is really nice. So if you sit somewhere and you just sit, even if you can only do it for 2 minutes, even if you can only do it for 1 minute. Of course, I recommend anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes of meditation to quiet the mind. Even if you just start and you can do 1 minute, that's still better than nothing. And you can try again the next time. So you just sit, you sit up straight, unless you're lying down, just so you have full access to your upper and lower parts of your lungs. And your spine should be erect and your chin parallel to your lap. You can just place your hands on your knees, facing up, facing down, doesn't matter. You can cup them in front of your belly. You can place one hand on your heart and the other hand on top of the other hand. There's, no rules. It's whatever is comfortable for you. And then just simply bring your awareness to your breathing. So that's one way to help quiet the mind. Another thing you can do if you have a hard time staying focused and keeping the awareness on your breath is to find a sound. So if you're inside your home or office, maybe you can hear the air conditioner and just focus on the sound of the AC. If you're outside, whatever sound you hear, just bring your awareness to either the birds or maybe you hear cars, and just keep your awareness there while you're breathing though. And it's very important that you come back to the breath. If you realize you don't want to sit there holding your breath, and so many people that are highly stressed, who have a lot going on in their minds, or just, all the racing thoughts, the, crazy thoughts, just the thoughts. A lot of times we tend to either shallow breathe or hold our breath. And you really don't want to do that because it's not going to benefit you. And we need to also learn to become conscious of the way we're breathing, because that also plays a big role in our stress levels, our anxiety levels, and also the correlation between the mind and the busy mind and the monkey chatter and our bodies feeling calm and at peace. So those are a couple techniques that I use when I need to just take a few minutes and my thoughts are just getting the best of me. I just, want to get out of that crazy loop. I sit quietly. One other thing is, if you're able and you're just, it's been going on all day. Say somebody has hurt you, right? Well, first of all, truth is, nobody can hurt you. We have to take responsibility for our emotions and our feelings. So, but say you've been offended, you are offended, someone's done something that wasn't right. And you can't stop thinking about it. And the reason I can talk about this is because in everything that I talk about, these are things that I've gone through in my life, that I've done, and that I realize didn't serve me. So that is why I do this podcast, to come on here and share tips and tools with you to, help calm your nervous system, help reprogram your subconscious mind, and really ultimately help you live a happier, more abundant life. All right, so back to what I was going to say. Somebody's done something and you just can't get over it. You can't stop thinking about it. And you are offended, and you have these thoughts like, oh, they hurt me, and how dare they do this, and and you just can't stop with the thoughts. And say it goes on all day, and you go to bed at night, and you wake up the next morning. As soon as you come to your senses that you're awake, here we go, same thoughts from the day before, and you're mad, and you're feeling anger, and you're feeling the negative emotions of anger and maybe resentment and all these low vibrational emotions. And you go again on this, you're wasting all this energy, your precious day, on these negative thoughts. One thing I suggest that has worked for me, if you're able, take a nap. Just go find a place to lie down and just take a nap. And I almost makes me think about when my children were younger and they were, having a temper tantrum or something, or if you're a parent, you can definitely relate to this, I'm sure. And what's the first thing we do if our child's just fussy and fussy? Oh, you're tired, it's time for a nap. Sometimes we adults need naps. Actually, I think adults need a nap every single day, even if it's only for 10 or 15 minutes. But if you take a nap, what happens is you stop that momentum, the thought momentum. And so when you wake up, you have the opportunity when you wake up to catch it. If you start to go into that negative thought loop again, you have the chance to catch it before the momentum builds too much. And that's really what happens is, say we have a thought that isn't pleasant and we begin to think about it. Well, the law of attraction, just based on that, what happens is we begin to attract more thoughts along that same pattern. So we're attracting more negative thoughts. And then more time, so you're building this momentum of negativity, and more negative thoughts come, more negative thoughts come, more negative thoughts come. But what the beautiful thing that happens after you take a nap or after you meditate is that once that thought, and it'll tries to come back into your consciousness, you can stop, because the momentum has subsided long enough for you to be able to catch it right off the bat and start focusing on positive things. And what I recommend and what I do when this happens to me is I catch it. A lot of times I snap my fingers, not going to go there. And I start to focus on things that I appreciate, things that I am grateful for. And if you spend 30 seconds doing that, like rather than going down that rabbit hole with the negative thought, and you just snap out of it and just find something, look around, whether it's the sunshine or grass, or you see a bird or a squirrel, or you're in your house and you realize, oh my goodness, I have electricity, and I have a cell phone and computer, or and maybe you don't have those things, but I have clean running water, I have a bed, I have a blanket, I had a meal today, I'll be able to have another meal this evening. And just the most simple things that we take for granted all the time. Focus on those things for at least 30 seconds. And you'll see the negative thought just kind of slips away. And sometimes it'll creep back up if it's something that you've been harboring and holding on to for a long time. Yeah, a lot of times it'll come back, but become aware. As soon as you become aware, snap your fingers, not going there. What can I find to appreciate? And sometimes it's helpful if you just grab a piece of paper and a pen or a pencil and just start writing things that you're grateful for. And what ends up happening is you begin to raise the vibration from that negative low vibrational place to a higher vibration. And actually, gratitude and appreciation are our highest levels of vibration and where we really want to strive to be as often as possible. All right. I hope these tips and tools have helped you today. And I'll be back next week to I want to talk about how resentment and guilt and jealousy and anger, all these negative vibrational emotions, how they actually affect you more than the other person that is probably you're thinking is causing you to feel these ways. So that's going to be the subject next week. I can't wait to jump back on and share that with you. Before I end, I would like to take a few minutes just to help you calm your nervous system down. So if you are not driving, I invite you to find a comfortable place to sit. And you can also be lying down for this. Doesn't matter either way. Again, if you are sitting, I would like you to sit up nice and straight. Close your eyes. We're going to place our right hand over our heart. And if you'd like, you can place your left hand over the right hand. Relax your belly. Relax your jaw. Relax your forehead. Close your eyes. We're going to take a nice deep breath in through our nose. And we're going to exhale out of our mouth with a nice audible sound, like a sigh of relief, like a inhale in through your nose. Exhale out. Inhale in through your nose. Exhale out. Again, nice deep breath in through your nose. Exhale out. All right, my friends. By the way, if you haven't done so yet, or if you're just hearing about it, in the show notes for this podcast, there's going to be a link. Click on there and grab yourself a free copy of my book, Thoughts Can Heal, 30 Daily Practices to Help Heal Anxiety. It is an ebook. It is downloadable. It is free for you, and I hope you take advantage of that. Let's see. I think that's really all I've got right now. If you'd like to learn more about me, you can visit my website at www.deniselyn.net. Until next week, I hope you stay well, take care, take some time to quiet the mind. Namaste.